As of now, the Taliban are not permitting the charter flights to depart. We are working to do everything in our power to support those flights. We've made clear to the Taliban that these charters need to be able to depart.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the Taliban is disrupting evacuation efforts in Afghanistan.
And the White House just missed a GOP deadline to provide the exact number of Americans still stranded under terrorist threat. Here to react, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, good to see you. The latest news is now, reportedly anyway, the Taliban says they're going to let 200 Americans and others leave Afghanistan. Two-part question. Number one, why do we believe anything the Taliban is saying unless we see it to come true? Number two, wasn't this the threat all along when we left and left it to Taliban rule?
Of course this was the threat, and we should never listen to the Taliban at all. This all could have been avoided, and I think, frankly, everybody knows this at this point. We never should have left Americans behind. We never should have left green card holders behind. We never should have left our interpreters and people who helped us on the ground behind. We should have stayed until the job was done. This administration can't make deadlines with GOP senators, but they're going to listen to the Taliban about an artificial deadline. This is insane. The fact that they're blocking charters is not a shock to anybody at all, because the Taliban is going to exert whatever authority it wants. Because let's be very clear, this diplomacy that the White House talks about, the negotiations that they're talking about, this is about money. That's what they want. They want us to either release money or give them money. And so the Taliban is going to exert whatever authority it needs to get that done, to accomplish their mission. And this is sad, and it's a joke not only for America, but for the President of the United States and what our foreign policy has become.
Is the White House simply ignoring the GOP request for those numbers, or is this proof that the White House has no idea what these numbers are in the first place?
Actually, I think it's both. First of all, this White House has been ignoring GOP requests on everything since this administration took over. They're the least transparent administration I think we frankly have ever seen in our country. There's been letters coming from us talking about everything from immigration to PPP loans. They don't respond, so I'm not really shocked at all that they're not responding to this. But on a much broader point, I don't think they really know how many Americans are left over there. So there's always this guessing game with big round numbers to think that they're providing information frankly to reporters, but really they don't have the concrete number themselves.
I want to go back to something you said about a minute ago. You said this is all about money, and that argument is certainly fair. The question, though, is it's kind of like the domino effect. When you give an inch, you take a mile. If they get what they're looking for, then what are they looking for next? You know, it just seems like, and I don't know, tell me if you see it any other way, it seems like this never-ending cycle. When you give them even one little thing that they want, that's never going to be enough.
I think you're right in that assessment. Look, the Taliban get this, and I think unfortunately so do our enemies, and unfortunately our allies are looking at this as well, is that when you know you got a fast one, you write it for everything it's worth. And they know they got a fast one with this president. They know that he's weak. They know he's not going to stand up to them, so they're going to push it for everything that it's worth. Our allies knew this was going to happen, which is why they did not want to leave on this artificial deadline. They wanted to extend the perimeter. They wanted to make sure they got everybody out on their terms, not on the terms of the Taliban. And our enemies are watching this, and they're making plans accordingly.
But, Congressman, we were promised by Antony Blinken, staying with the money for a moment, that we had financial leverage over the Taliban. Appears in this case, we don't have any leverage.
No, that's a joke. There's no such thing as leverage. The only leverage, frankly, in that part of the world is force. And we don't have any force leverage over there because we left. We tucked tail and we left. There was no reason to. We had every ability to stay and do what needed to be done. But when you show that kind of weakness to the Taliban, they're going to exploit it.
We've got about 30 seconds left. Is there anything this administration, this president can do at this point in time to somewhat reverse course, if you will? Even though if you use the term reverse course, I'm sure they're not going to agree that we would need to.
Frankly, at this point, it doesn't look that good at all. I'm not quite sure what our options are at this present time, because there's a lot of things happening on the ground right now that, frankly, only the president and his national security team is really aware of. It's hard to comment on that at this time.
Yeah, it's true.
Congressman, you knew I would go to this at some point. You had a close one this weekend against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It was a tough one. But let's face it, you guys showed some fight, and that's good. Florida State, of course, being the team.
Now, listen, I told you about a month and a half ago that we were going to be back. We look great against number 9. You know, field goal kicking happens sometimes in the dope, but trust me, we'll be there.
All right.
You heard it from the Congressman.
Congressman, thank you. Have a good day.